Hey everybody, welcome back to Maggie's Kitchen. We are getting ready to make a dish that I love. I've served for years. It's incredibly simple to come together. Very common kitchen ingredients. It's been around forever and ever and ever. Yes, I'm quite the nerd. And I was researching the origins. It's like, where did this come from? And couldn't really find anything that settled on a real answer. But it's the infamous, for me, I call it Undone Cabbage Rolls. So cabbage rolls, if you've ever had them or heard of them, is a filling that's typically ground beef, some rice, seasonings, onions, garlic, that kind of stuff. You cook that, you steam a cabbage leaf, put the meat in there, roll it up, put it in a pan, kind of like enchiladas, and then make a tomatoey sauce, pour over it, and bake it. They're great. They're wonderful. They're amazing. Love them. It's just a lot of hands-on work. I like the same flavors, the same kind of outcome without all that hands-on if I don't have to. So back when I first opened my restaurant, I used to make the old-fashioned, the original cabbage rolls, go through all that. And I did it once at the restaurant. I thought, I can't do this. This is way too much work. Not that I'm afraid of work, but just takes way too much time to go through all that. So I just kind of changed it around, and this recipe's probably been out there for 1,000 years. I don't know. I didn't look, but this is what I did. So I took the filling, put the tomato inside, put that in a casserole dish, top it with braised cabbage, pop it in the oven, and it's quick. It's easy. Everybody loves it. It's a very well-rounded meal. You've got protein, you've got carbs, you've got fiber, you've got fat, you've got everything you need in one dish. And y'all know how I am about some one-dish meals. I love them. Love them, love them, love them. So with that little infomercial, we're going to get started. Again, very, very simple. The recipe makes a 9 by 13 casserole dish, which y'all knows about like that. Way too much for me and the hubs. We'd be eating on it every day for a week. So I'm going to split it in half. I've got my handy dandy little miniature Pyrex dishes here. I've got 2 of them. So I'm going to do half tonight and bake it, put the other half in the freezer, and then one of those days when I don't have a meal, I can just pull that out, let it thaw, pop it in the oven, and hot, amazing, wonderful supper. So that's what I'm doing. But first thing we're going to do is ground. We're going to brown a pound of ground beef. So I'll get my camera moved around. I've got my ground beef. Oh, my rice is ready. Sorry, hold on. So I guess I storied. I'm not going to start with the ground beef. I started with the rice. I had already started it. You need a half a cup of uncooked rice. I don't like to cook a half a cup of rice. It's just not enough. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too used to making lots of big volumes, but whenever I've tried to do just a half a cup of rice, it just doesn't seem to want to work out right. I can't get the water ratio right. I don't know. I don't like it. So I always, at a minimum, do a cup. And then I'll just stick the leftover in the refrigerator and we will eat it. This is also a great thing to do if you have leftover rice because you already got it. You throw it in there, you're good to go. So I cooked 1 cup of rice and we'll put half of that in the recipe. So back to what I was saying before my buzzer interrupted me. So we're going to brown 1 pound of ground beef with a 1/4 cup of trilogy, our infamous trilogy, and a half a cup of chopped bell pepper. See, got my little frozen package out of the freezer, which is kind of redundant. Got my little package out of the freezer. That is a half a cup that I had previously spent time, chop, wrap, stuff in the freezer. So when I'm cooking, I just whip it out and there it is. So much easier. Quicker, I should say. So we're going to brown that. And, again, as we've talked about in the past, I'm not going to make y'all sit here and listen to the popping and the splattering that the browning process makes. You know what it means to brown some ground beef. So I'm going to pause, do this real quick, and then we'll come back. I said I wasn't going to make y'all watch this, but I just thought of one thing, and I can't recall if I've mentioned this in previous videos, so I just thought I'd throw it out there. When you pull your bell pepper or any other sweet peppers out of the freezer You know, whether it's jalapenos, you know, all kinds of peppers can be chopped and frozen. You don't have to thaw them. I throw it straight in here frozen. They're little pieces. They're going to thaw really fast in the heat. It's going in the oven, so it's going to be fine. So again, it's just another super quick, you know, kind of prep ahead thing to have that already chopped up in the freezer and ready to go. It just makes the meal, you know, the preparation time and the cooking time of the meal so much faster, which I know, you know, is always a good thing. It's important sometimes. I mean, I love to get in the kitchen and spend hours and hours on some big, huge, convoluted meal, but that's not every meal. So anyway, I'll pause so you don't have to listen to this or listen to me babble, and we'll be right back. Okay, so our meat is browned, just barely on the edge of tiny bit rare, which we've talked about in the past, is good if you're putting it in the casserole in the oven, because if it's fully cooked right now, it'll just get dried out in the oven. Okay, so from here, y'all are going to freak out when you see how simple this recipe is, and goodness gracious, the flavor is phenomenal. So I don't drain my meat. Again, talked about that before. Number one, there's not that much liquid in here, but I have very quality local ground beef, so I don't worry about there being a bunch of garbage in there. If you aren't able to source locally, or you know, you have meat that came from a grocery store, I would probably drain that, just because fat from confinement raised animals in the best. So anyway, do what you can do. Get in your kitchen and cook. That's a number one. And then do the best you can do with what you can afford for the ingredients, and it's all good. So from here, we're going to stir in tomatoes. So we got a 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes. And this is Field Day organic tomatoes. And then we need 8 ounces of tomato sauce. And I've got that here. I had a 15-ounce can, which don't you just love that? All the cans used to be 16 ounces. Then they made them 15 ounces and didn't change the price. So now we're an ounce short. So anyway, it's been that way for quite a while, so I will not bellyache. Not too much anyway. But what I'm going to do is use the 8 ounces I need, and then I'm going to put the rest of this in a little container and pop it in the freezer. And then next time I need 8 ounces of tomato sauce. I actually have 7, but whatever, it's close enough. I will drag that out. And on that note, remember this? We did this in a previous video. It's 2 ounces of green chilies. Green chili cans come in 4 ounces. In a recipe I did for a previous video, I mean, I remember doing this, but I just don't remember now what the recipe was. I used the 2 ounces I needed, stuck the rest in a little Ziploc bag, popped it in the freezer, marked it. There you go. Now, here today, I need 2 ounces. So I dragged this little bag out. Again, it was frozen, pulled it out, threw it on the counter. Just give it a little bit of time. It thaws really quick. It's going in here. There's my 2 ounces. Now, tomatoes and green chilies, for all intent and purposes, is Rotel tomatoes. But I prefer to not buy the Rotel brand because I don't want non-organic stuff if I can help it, and I don't want any other random ingredients they may throw in there. So I never buy Rotel. Used to, but I don't anymore. I just buy diced tomatoes, green chilies, mix them up, boom, there we go. And then it's one less product I have to have on hand. And whoops, splatter that. I can make it myself. So anyway, so we've got our diced tomatoes, our tomato sauce, our green chilies. Now we're going to add half of the rice. So typically, let me get my little measuring cup here. 1 cup of rice will make 3 cups cooked. I've got a white organic basmati rice here. And I'm not going to be just super, you know, anal about measuring it out. I'm just kind of eyeballing the pot and doing half of it. Because remember, cooking is an art, not a science. I would say baking is more of a science because it has to be more exact. But savory cooking, and maybe that's why I like it, because it's flexible and you can do some different things. But anyway, so there's my half a cup of cooked rice. Golly, it smells good, y'all. I hope you try this one because, again, it is super simple. It freezes beautifully, and it's all you need in one dish. It's just so good. So anyway, there's our rice. Now we're going to put in a half a teaspoon of black pepper. Grab my pepper. So we've got a half a teaspoon of black pepper, a quarter teaspoon of cayenne. Now this will give it a teeny little bit of a kick. And if you don't want any kick, I'm a little bit of a scant quarter teaspoon. Leave the cayenne out. It's not going to be detrimental, but it, will take that kick out. Maybe it's something you don't care for, your kids don't care for. We need 1 teaspoon of salt. I have a half teaspoon measure here, which is why I did 2 of them. And then we're going to need a half a teaspoon of basil and a half a teaspoon of oregano. So, I mean, if you want to get super fancy, you could do the meat, the onions, the bell pepper, the rice, steam your cabbage leaves, roll them up, do your tomatoes, your seasonings, pour it over the top and bake it. I mean, your fancy pants, you're going to impress some folks. And they're good that way, and they taste good, and they look pretty, and all that stuff. So go for it if that's what you want to do. But this is just a whole lot quicker and easier. And I'm all about quick and easy because I got animals I got to go feed here in just a few minutes. I just got home from the restaurant, so I'm trying to get a lot of stuff done. So anyway, so we get that all mixed together. Now we're going to spread this in our pan. And if we, we're doing a 9 by 13, we would just, pour it in there. Since I'm doing 2 pans, then typically what I do for that is I will get a measuring cup bigger than that quarter cup. And just because I'm a little bit, I don't know, a little anal maybe, and I just want to make sure it's exact, I'll just measure it out. So there's one. There's one. So it's going to be about 4 cups. Maybe just a little extra. And then we'll take this last bit and just kind of eyeball it and split it across the 2. And then that part is done. I love my little, oh my gosh, I can barely pick these cast iron skillets up anymore. My wrists are just not what they used to be. I have to kind of hang it instead of pick it up. All right. Ooh, and y'all don't look at my nasty, dirty stove. I say this every time I do a video. One of these days, when I'm not doing restaurant work, chasing varmints, cooking, doing videos, whatever, I'm going to bust off in here and take this thing all apart and scrub the dickens out of it. But unfortunately, that day hadn't come. So we just go with what we got. Terrible, I know, but it is what it is. Okay, so there's that. Let me move this over to the side because now we're going to braise some cabbage. I don't even bother with cleaning this out because the cabbage is going in there and it's going on top of all the stuff we just pulled out of here. So it's not like, this little bit of tomato and seasoning is going to affect the flavor. I mean, it might affect the flavor in a really good way. So we're going to put a couple tablespoons of, you can do bacon grease. I've got lard. Both of them work great. We'll get this hot just to melt our grease. And then I've got 1.5 pounds of chopped cabbage. I usually cut mine, you can see, probably about 1-inch squares. I just like it a little bit smaller. I don't know, I've got a pretty big mouth, but I don't like trying to cram big things in my mouth. I like to cram a lot of small things in my mouth. So, let this melt. And then we're going to get this good and hot and then I'm going to do the cabbage in 2 batches for a couple reasons. One, you want the cabbage to have, actually I'm going to pull a little bit of this grease out to do the second batch with. You want the cabbage to have contact with the bottom of the pan and with the fat, because that's what gives it kind of a caramelized texture, for lack of a better term. So I'm just going to do half, and then I'm going to pull that out and show you that in just a second. And we'll put that on top of one of the pans, and then I'll do the other half for the second pan. So one thing you want to do when you cut your cabbage up, see how that's a pretty solid, it's kind of the inside of the cabbage. You want to break that up a little bit, just so you don't have any big, hard chunks that you're going to bite into. Oh, y'all are going to have to listen to a little popping. I'm sorry. But see, all you got to do with your cabbage is let it sit in the hot grease for just a little bit. And you want to sprinkle a little salt over it. Just kind of sprinkle to taste. We'll let it sit for a minute and, you know, get that kind of caramelized, and then stir it around, let it sit for a minute, stir it around, let it sit for a minute. And that's it. And then it comes out and it tops the casserole. This is actually a fabulous side dish to anything. You want to do hamburger steaks or pork chops or salmon or whatever entree. Braised cabbage makes a great side dish. All right, so let's stir this around a little bit. I know, y'all, I apologize for the noise, but it's just kind of the way it is. But see how it's starting to get a little bit brown on the edges? I mean, you can get it, if you like it, you know, pretty dark. And, whoops. See, that would be why my stove's dirty, because I'm flipping junk out. Then let it go a little longer. If you want it a little crunchier, let it go less time. It's really however you like it. I like it a little bit crunchier. The hubs like it a little softer, so I'm going to try and land somewhere in the middle. But then this is going to, like I said, go on top of the what would normally be filling. And then in the oven it goes for about 20-25 minutes on 350. That's all there is to it. It is so tasty. I served this at the restaurant. It was actually a meal I served yesterday. And people are so complimentary of this dish. And it's just a simple ingredients, whole foods, real food. It's just good stuff. All right. So this is about good for this. So I'm going to take it. I'm going to cut this off for a minute. Grab this pan. I'm assuming y'all will be able to sit, not that you need to see me spread cabbage on a casserole dish, but and see, if you do this braised cabbage as a side dish, again, you can go as dark or as light as you'd like to with, you know, cooking it. So just do it however you like it. All right, y'all. That is Undone Cabbage Roll. Now, this is going to go in the oven, not just yet because I got to go out and feed, but in a little while, and plus it's only 10 till 4. It's a little early. I bugged out of the restaurant a few minutes early. Whoops, don't tell anybody. But that'll go in the oven uncovered, 350 for about 20-25 minutes. And that's all there is to it. Let me flip this joker up. And then you have supper. So easy, and dadgummit, it tastes good, I'm telling you. And you got all you need. All the nutrients, all the good stuff. So give that a shot. I'm not going to bother coming back and showing you what it looks like when it comes out of the oven, because it pretty much looks just like that. It's just a little maybe bubbly, but it's about the same thing. So we won't have to worry about that extra little piece. But that's all there is to it, y'all. Give Undone Cabbage Rolls a try. Even if there's somebody in your family like, I don't like cabbage. It's good. I'm telling you, it's good, it's good, it's good. And as you know, anything that's got tomato in it, tomato's a pretty stout flavor. So it tends to, it can completely take over like a spaghetti sauce. Or it can complement. And it does it really, really well in this dish. So I'll quit babbling and trying to talk y'all into cooking it. And I'm just going to finish my other bit of cabbage here. And then I'm going to take off out to my happy place, which is with my pigs and my cows and my sheep and my goats and my chickens and my guineas and my dogs and my cats and whatever other four-legged thing we've got out there. Who knows? But y'all give it a shot. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you here on the next video.